Hello, my friends. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Here again with you in my third video in English. I'm responding to some of you that would like me to continue with this series of videos in English. I'll try to be as concise as possible and my English pronunciation as clear as possible. So I'm going to try to speak slowly. Okay. The topic, free speech and democracy. Both values are in danger in the Western nations. And Tommy Robinson is the figure that has opened up the vision of many people that thought they were in a country that would uphold those values, democracy and free speech. But to their dismay, actually, that is not the case. So many in the UK, that's what I see or what I discern from the commentaries, many of you in the UK have started to realize that you have lost part of your free speech and maybe part of that especially precious thing that is democracy. And I talk from experience, you know, that I've lived through military governments in the 1960s, at the end of the 1960s and all 1970s. The government in Peru was military, so I know what is to live under authoritarian governments. Well, Tommy Robinson was captured. He was tried and jailed in less than 24 hours. I suppose that's a record. But the response from the people was incredible. It was really incredible. And I think the establishment has realized for the first time that it's not going to be that easy to get away with this way of govern. This way of government, the fascist way. There is another thing that I want to talk about that it's also related to the topic. It's a video done by Mr. Paul Weston talking of Anne-Marie Waters and how democracy was trampled and establishment was silenced. It did not utter a word about what happened to Anne-Marie. I know about her from her interviews with Nigel Farage during the Brexit. I know she has also been with another personality. Right now I don't remember. I have his face, but I don't remember his name. Anyways, what happened, according to Mr. Weston, was that Anne-Marie Waters was supposed to give a speech in a certain place where other political figures had been before. but somehow she was not banished but prevented to give her speech. And she didn't know until later that it was a combination of police and authorities of the place to not let her speak. That is what happened according to Mr. Weston. Well, that is very sad. It's very sad and really bad news for the democratic rules that prevail or supposedly prevail in the UK. My concern is, if that is happening there, if that is happening in your country, in the UK, in the United Kingdom, we here in Latin America have less expectations. And actually, that is true. Why am I talking to you right now? Because here in my country, nobody listens to me. I have no way of getting through the press. None whatsoever. Forget it. I'm a joke. I am a nobody. I do not have any opportunity to get my opinion heard. That's what is happening. In most of Latin American countries, not only here in Peru, but most of Latin American countries happen. That is the way of little people to live in silence. Well, I am not going to be silenced anymore. I have this. I have YouTube. And I want to use it. And I want to get to you. And that you listen to me, and then you, in turn, you start to talk about these things. These are values that cannot be taken for granted anymore. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, freedom of reunion. Those are things, democracy itself. Those are things that other cultures have taken from us. Look at Japan. Look at Korea. Please. Asian countries that were at one point secluded, were kingdoms. Now they have the best ways of democracy. And we do not have that. United Kingdom should be the first one to give us the example. The Carta Magna was written there. Well, Spain also had I'm not sure how it is called, but I know that Alfonso X, the Castilian king, gave these laws, which gave more freedom to the people. The Western countries has given democracy to Eastern countries, and they are using them. They are in societies freer than us. It's ludicrous, to say the least. We must rally together, as I said before. We must get together somehow. Use the commentary to give ideas. Okay, how to exchange, how to get together. No, what are our expectations? My expectation is that I want to be able to give my opinion without fear. That's first of all. Last year, there was a piece of legislation that was taken out from the Congress, out of the laws. It was decree that somehow curtailed the free speech, and it was two concepts there. There were two concepts. One was the gender identity, and the other was the gender ideology. Those two ideas that are against our laws were inserted in this decree, and people that would talk against those concepts would go to jail. Fortunately, it was taken out. It was stricken. But we are in that danger, and as I say again, we have to get together. We have to think as free people. We have to go beyond. Okay, go beyond. We must set the example to the next generations. That's what I'm doing. That's how I give my ideas. I tell them to my students. I not only tell them, I also live them. I have to be coherent with what I say and what I do. To my friends, to my students, to everybody around me. And I think that's one idea that should be considered. If I think that freedom is essential, then I have to let everybody use that freedom. If they want to insult me, which I've received insults, well, sure, go ahead. I mean, everybody's free to their opinion. So, they don't like me? So be it. Anyways, that's for now, my friends. Those two concepts that are part of our inheritance, free speech and democracy. We must get together and we must start a strategy to preserve them, to leave them behind to our descendants. Well, as I said, that's all for today. I will be sending another tape soon. And have a nice morning, have a nice afternoon, and have a nice evening. And I'll see you later.